It's April 21st. JLD here, and welcome to MSTR today. And in this show, we talk about Michael Saylor and Strategy buying over 6,000 Bitcoin last week, almost double what he bought the week before. I mean, this guy is relentless. We're also going to talk about how you and myself, everybody watching this that owns MSTR shares, we are 1 in a million. Now, what does that mean? Keep on watching. We'll be talking about Bitcoin breaking out. Is this finally the breakout that we're waiting for, or is this just another head fake? Let's talk about it. Also, the dollar is dropping at a crazy level. Is that good for Bitcoin? We'll talk about it. Plus, I have count them, 5 Michael Saylor video clips you're not going to want to miss. This video is not financial advice, but please do comment below if you're appreciating the hard work I'm putting in for you every single day. Please just put a comment for support or what you're thinking about, a question you have, where you're watching from. It means so much. And let's dive on in. Okay, we're starting today with Michael Saylor, who wants us to know that there's insufficient orange. Of course, this was him signaling that Strategy bought more Bitcoin last week. And we love this savage relentlessness on Michael Saylor and MSTR and strategy, just executing at an incredible level. And sure enough, here we go with the post. MSTR has acquired 6,566 Bitcoin for 555 million at an average of 84.75 per Bitcoin. Look at Michael Saylor 2 weeks in a row buying the dip and has achieved a Bitcoin yield of 12.1% year to date in 2025. Strategy now holds 538,200 Bitcoin acquired for 36 billion at an average of 67,766 per Bitcoin. Wow. Powerful stuff. And of course, Chris came at us with this great graphic that I want to go through. Right now, Strategy has a total of 538,200 Bitcoin. We are 53.28% of the way to one Nakamoto. That's 1 million Bitcoin. And guess what happens when we get there? We're going to keep buying more Bitcoin. The average purchase price is 67,766, 12.1% Bitcoin yield. Again, the goal for this year is 15%. Sandbag and Sailor, I love them. And then we have $538 million. That's the balance sheet growth for every $1,000 Bitcoin gain. So when Bitcoin jumped from 85 to 87,000, which is kind of where it's hovering right now. Who knows where it's at when you're watching? It might be back down to 85. It might still be at 87. Who knows? But at this point, when it jumped at 2,000, it added 538 million times 2. Love it. Powerful stuff. Now we have a great post from Michael Saylor again, who just wants us to know that the sharpest strategy is based on Bitcoin. And this is the Sharpe ratio. He just posted this yesterday. You know, we talked about the Sharpe ratio before in a recent video, but when Michael Saylor wants to bring it back up, I do too, because it just gets more impressive. Right now, look at the Sharpe ratio of Google, Amazon, and Microsoft. I mean, ugh. Anyways, let's keep on moving because the Bitcoin therapist wants us to know that the thing about Michael Saylor that you have to respect is he was already a billionaire coasting along. Dude could have dumped his stock 4 years ago and retired richer than 99.99% of the world. Man literally said, F that, and risked every dollar to revolutionize the world. And guess what? That is so true. Michael Saylor, he's not doing this to get richer. He is doing this because he believes it's the best thing for humanity, for his company, for his shareholders. That's why he's doing this, period. End of story. Now, BitStrategy says Strategy shareholders are 1 in a million. We are even rarer than Bitcoin itself. There are 21 million Bitcoin, but less than 1 million Strategy shareholders. Truly remarkable. And that's you, the person who's watching right now that owns even just one share of MSTR. You are 1 in a million. Because look at this. Based on public data as of Q1 2025, there are 13,000 institutions, but 814,000 retail accounts hold MSTR directly. I'm one of those. I know that a lot of you are one of those, if not all of you. An estimated 55 million beneficiaries have indirect exposure through ETFs, mutual funds, pensions, and insurance portfolios, but that's tiny fractions. This is the number that I'm impressed with, the 814,000 that I am, that you are. Let's keep going. We're 1 in a million. And then Ben Workman does chime in by saying, wow, that's massive retail participation in the MSTR equity, which is very true. This is a force to be reckoned with. And then Ben follows that up by saying the Dixie, the dollar, has broken down to March 2022 levels. Bitcoin is back on the move. So Ben believes that the fact that the dollar now has dropped below 100, it is back down to this line of back in 2022. You can see how it spiked up, went down, kind of chopped for a while, was cruising for a while, and then ever since essentially Trump took office has been plunging, which has been their goal and their plan for whatever reason they have. Um, and Ben believes this is very bullish for Bitcoin. Bitcoin Archive says Bitcoin now has recovered the full price dip from Trump's tariff announcement higher. Look, listen, everything got crushed. The tariffs were announced, boom. Little fake up, boom. And then guess what? Nothing but a, kind of up and to the right since then, with a couple drops here and there, of course. But now we're at 87,420. It's a little lower than that as we're speaking now, about 86.8, I think, at the time I'm recording this. But it's recovered completely from the tariff announcement. So we'll see what happens. Anything could be announced in the upcoming days. It changes a lot of things, but right now, looking good. And the MicroStrategy says, what will be the highest price of MSTR in 2025? Reply with your predictions and we'll run a poll with the most popular. And I will have this tweet, this X post in the show notes below if you want to go ahead and comment. You can see I commented right here. 1111. I do believe this is a very realistic. This is even maybe a little bearish number for 2025. I mean, if Bitcoin does what I think and hope and expect it to do, we're hitting this number this year. It's going to happen, in my opinion. You can see some other numbers here: 1,500, 1,600, 2347, 20. Looks like I'm super bearish compared to most of these posters. I'm actually the lowest so far. 797, 999. Finally getting down to some lower numbers. And you can see 900. Yep, this makes sense. See right here, if Bitcoin gets to 130, which I think is very reasonable, MSTR is at 900. End of story. I think it's going to obviously have a little more fun than that. I'm going to be at 1111. I don't know where my post went, but it was right there. Maybe they readjusted it downwards or something. But you saw it. 1111. I'd love to know what your number is. Just post your number in my comment section if you want to. Or, of course, you can go to this tweet and post it there as well. But post in my comment section, what is your MSTR prediction number by the end of 2025? Listen, Michael Saylor, featured on the cover of Forbes as the Bitcoin alchemist. And here you go, Michael Saylor, the Bitcoin alchemist. Why Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy is a brilliant blueprint for manipulating traditional finance to harness the pixie dust of crypto mania. Forbes, let's go. Now I'm going to be playing some great video clips from Michael Saylor. These are going to be some short ones. Then we have a great long one. So let's dive on in.
Bitcoin is capital. Bitcoin is not currency. Gold has been used as capital. It's not currency anymore. The very simple thing that the U.S. ought to do is they ought to sell the gold and buy Bitcoin with it and buy 20% of the Bitcoin network. It's very simple. Just swap the gold for Bitcoin. If anybody actually swaps out their treasury bills for Bitcoin, then the U.S. is going to own it all. It's kind of like just getting Alaska or the Louisiana Purchase for free. They could pretty much have 20% of the network for free overnight just with a swap. They could even print the money. They could buy it for next to nothing. The only alternative to the treasury bill for anybody is Bitcoin. And so just do that, and Bitcoin becomes the world reserve capital network, and the U.S. will own both sides of the equation. They'll own the currency and the capital.
Volatility was a gift to the faithful. It scares away the tourist. It scares away the lazy. It scares away the people that are already conventionally rich, that have all the money. If you're a 20-something or a 30-something and you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to spend 100 hours or 200 hours, if you have more time than money, then the volatility of Bitcoin is a gift to you. If you have more money than time, and you're arrogant and egotistical and you just pick the obvious, then if the volatility goes away, you buy Bitcoin. If people in the rest of the world knew what I know and they understood and they agreed with me, Bitcoin would go to $10 million tomorrow. And if Bitcoin went to $10 million tomorrow, I want you to think about how you would feel and how your viewers would feel, because you would lose 20 years of stacking opportunity during which you get to buy at less than $10 million. So the difference between $10 million and 100,000, that's what you give up if the volatility goes away and people start to agree with you. And the first nation to print money, the first nation to print their own currency to buy Bitcoin wins. Right? Like, Tom, look what MicroStrategy did. We basically issue our own currency, our stock, and we buy Bitcoin. What happened? We went from $1 billion to $100 billion market cap is what happened. Is it inflation? It's only inflation if you print the currency to invest, to make a bad investment. Right? If you print the currency to buy something that's appreciating faster than your inflation rate, it's actually accretion. Room for one nation state to buy up 20% of the network. And obviously, I think it should be the United States. I think it will be the United States. It's a way for us to enrich ourselves and emerge as a creditor nation in a matter of a decade. It's also a way for us to ensure that we're the economic leaders in cyberspace and the digital economy for the next 100 years. And if we do that, every one of our allies will follow us, and then all of our enemies will end up having to buy into the network once it passes 10 or 20 million a coin, and they will enrich us.
All right. If you think Michael Saylor is done, I have a great video clip coming up as soon as we get back from thanking our sponsors. Online shopping has never been easier, but this ease is new enough that we remember a time when entering all our credit card info every time we purchased something online was the norm. Luckily, we don't have to do that anymore thanks to Shopify. That's right. That purple Shop Pay button that makes it seamless to purchase online is powered by Shopify. And Shopify doesn't just make it easy to buy, it makes it incredibly easy to start a business no matter your experience. Shopify is the commerce platform behind 10% of all e-commerce in the US, and they make it super easy to get up and running with beautiful, ready-to-go templates and built-in marketing and email tools. Worried about tracking inventory, payments, and analytics? No stress. Shopify helps you manage it all from a single dashboard. And back to that iconic purple Shop Pay button, it's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. If you want to see less carts being abandoned, it's time for you to head over to Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/MSTR. Go to shopify.com/MSTR, shopify.com/MSTR. So check it out. I know we're all looking to stack more Bitcoin and MSTR, and to do that, we need more fiat. So let's chat about our sponsor, ShipStation. We all know the market can seem pretty chaotic at times, but if you're in charge of order fulfillment for your business, you already understand chaos. While we might not be able to help calm the chaos in the market, ShipStation is here to help when it comes to shipping and fulfillment. I've used ShipStation to easily automate shipping to customers around the globe. My favorite part about the platform, managing orders in one simple dashboard makes an otherwise massive task feel pretty darn simple. Plus, ShipStation not only integrates with the services and selling channels you already use, it's also the fastest, most affordable way to ship products to your customers. ShipStation hooks you up with discounts up to 88% off UPS, DHL Express, and USPS rates, and up to 90% off FedEx rates. Calm the chaos of order fulfillment with the shipping software that delivers. Switch to ShipStation today. Go to shipstation.com/MSTR to sign up for your free trial, or click the pinned comment below this video. That's shipstation.com/MSTR. And thank you for supporting our sponsors that allow myself and my team to continue to produce these daily videos for you for free. Now back to the show.
What distinguishes this, the digital capital?
Look, when we saw digital photos transform, a lot of people didn't get the fact that Kodak was going to get replaced by Instagram and Facebook, but they get digital photos. Digital capital is what happens when your long-term store of value goes from a building or goes from a portfolio of stocks to a digital asset like Bitcoin. Bitcoin represents the digital transformation of hundreds of trillions of dollars of capital in the world.
Right.
No one expected to see it, so they don't quite get
Right.
what it's going to be, except for the fact it's worth all the money in the world.
So let's talk about that, because you do have you have a couple of slides showing assets around the world. First, okay, let's start with this from again, geared toward Microsoft, but some critics would say when you talk about digital capital being economically and technically superior, no tax. I mean, that doesn't mean it can't be taxed in certain jurisdictions at some point. No torts. Legal issues are going to come up. No regulator. I mean, these are great points, but are they forever points?
The point is, I got $100 million in New York City and I buy a building. I got to worry about someone slipping and falling on the sidewalk and a property tax. But if I can snap my fingers and teleport the building to Zambia, Central Africa, or to Monaco, all of a sudden it's a teleportable building. And of course, if I don't have any tenants in the building, I don't got to worry about them defaulting. Right, so. Right. Digital capital is the ability to move the money at the speed of light anywhere on Earth and program it on a computer. There's a lot of people that are going to want that rather than having, pick a country in Africa where you want to invest your life savings in a building.
Right.
Forever.
Yeah, let's say Angola.
Right. And what happens if the government fails? You lose everything.
Exactly.
But if you could put the building in your pocket and go to the place where you like the government, maybe you get to keep your money.
Great. Let's talk about how it's going to grow. So in your presentation, you have this slide twice. The first one, right now, Bitcoin is $2 trillion. You're saying in 21 years, $280 trillion. How do we get there?
What I'm saying is the wealth in the entire world is growing because of innovation, because of technology, but also because of inflation. And people are thinking to sell their Central African real estate to buy Bitcoin, or sell their Siberian natural gas to buy Bitcoin, or sell their Argentine currency to buy Bitcoin. So as people migrate their capital into this global monetary asset, that asset class is going to grow faster than equity, faster than gold, faster than real estate.
But also, did I read somewhere that you're saying each Bitcoin would be worth the equivalent of $13 million?
Yeah, well, when you crank in the growth rate, which for me, the base case is 29% a year on average for 21 years, that gets you from where we are today to 13 million a coin in the year 2045.
All right, so we've talked about the financial parts of this. You and I have had great conversations in the past about the humanitarian part of this, right? And I want to talk about that. You just mentioned Africa, for instance. Bitcoin's philosophy and political promise. This is an article from 2022. It's not just a decentralized peer-to-peer electronic cash system. It's more, right? This is what this article is saying. And it's going to have an impact on economies, philosophy, politics, human rights, and society. That is huge to live up to.
Bitcoin is a protocol for prosperity. Fire, electricity, steel, English, mathematics. You would give them to the world. Bitcoin is an economic protocol. Once you master Bitcoin, you can figure out how to save your wealth, how to economically prosper. It works for a country, a company, a family, an individual. Nobody owns it. It's a utilitarian, egalitarian entitlement, just a good for the world. That's why I'm so enthusiastic about it.
And particularly underdeveloped nations, right? I mean, this is what we're really talking about, a way for them to catch up. I mean, right now, if you're an underdeveloped nation and you want to try to catch up, you're at the whims or the mercy of the IMF or the World Bank, who, quite frankly, they have rates sometimes that are that makes the mafia blush, right? I mean, to me, you're always going to be an underdeveloped nation if you have to go to the World Bank to borrow money.
If you're a type 1 diabetic, you can eat continuously and you'll starve to death because you cannot store organic energy. If you don't have a capital asset like Bitcoin, I can send billions or tens of billions of dollars to Africa. You can make billions. The money will just drain out of your capital structure because you're storing it in a currency which is collapsing faster than you can actually generate it.
Will large industrialized countries allow this to live up to its promise? It's one thing to say it's a $2 trillion asset. It's another to say, hey, eventually this will replace fiat currency, which a lot of folks believe it will.
I think you got to keep in mind money bifurcates into currency, the medium of exchange, of which the dollar is the world reserve currency, and capital, the store of value, of which right now real estate and equity portfolios are the world reserve capital. Bitcoin is emerging to compete with equity and real estate as world reserve capital. But those Africans, they can't buy real estate in the US. They can't buy equity in the New York Stock Exchange. It's global capital. And once you understand that, you realize that every nation that respects property rights is going to support Bitcoin.
Yeah.
If you go communist, full-on socialist, North Korea, Cuba, they're going to expropriate your property. But any place where people respect property rights and they give you a chance for capitalism and freedom, they're going to allow you to have Bitcoin. And the competitor really is the Vanguard 500 is going to get demonetized a little bit. And then instead of buying a real estate portfolio and a third apartment, you buy some Bitcoin. And I don't think that's threatening to anybody.
And there you have it, another episode of MSTR today. And as you saw yesterday, I'm finally in the green with my daily dollar cost averaging of $210 every trading day of 2025. If you missed it, I have the whole portfolio reveal in yesterday's episode. It's Monday, so we're talking Moonshot Monday. Let's talk about some upcoming catalysts. While the Russell Index rank day is just 9 days away, MicroStrategy, Strategy, MSTR is going to be in a better position than they were prior to the in the prior rank day. So good things, more inflows coming from there. MSTR World's just 14 days away, and the Q1 earnings is just 15 days away. If you're going to MSTR World, drop a comment in the link below. Unfortunately, with my 17-month-old son, I'm not going to make it this year, but I'm already planning on attending next year's. And I'm going to be having an MSTR Today meetup. So it's over a year away. Actually, it's not over a year because it's going to be in February. So it's like 10 months away. We'll start planning in a few months. I'll let everybody know about it, but we'll have a blast wherever MSTR World is in 2026. So listen, is Bitcoin breaking out now? I hope so, but it doesn't really matter when it breaks out because it is inevitable that it's going to break out. And you and myself, we are time in the market. We are not timing the market. Just keep believing in your thesis about Bitcoin, in your thesis about strategy, because it's inevitable. It is absolutely inevitable, this path that we are on. And like Michael Saylor loves to say, there is no second best. And he wants you to remember to focus.
Focus your energy, guard your time, train your mind, train your body.